back to Behind the Caution Tape. I'm your host, CrashLit. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's been a busy week with USC athletics, so let's get into everything going on. Start with some news with football, actually, here on this weekly Monday rundown. So, USC had two big transfers this week. Wide receiver Prince Strachan transferring from Boise State to USC, and safety Bishop Fitzgerald from NC State. So two big pickups for Lincoln Riley, and I think those are definitely some big things for USC to get, especially with how things are going. I really think that these are going to be both great additions that will help bolster the roster next season, especially with how things are going. And I'm really confident that I think this year USC will turn a corner, which actually then leads me to my next topic. We'll in a sec. Actually, before we get to a few more things I want to say. Congratulations to offensive lineman Elijah Page for being named to the FWA freshman All-American team, and congrats to Dennis Thurman for being inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. So congratulations to both of them. And now on to some staff changes with USC. Defensive analyst Taylor Mays has taken the safeties job with the University of Washington. Mays will definitely be missed. Still, obviously, absolutely still a legend here at USC during his time during the Pete Carroll era. Wish him all the best. Makes sense. I do see the move. Obviously, his dad played for UW, and he is from the area, so wishing him all the best. Can't blame him at all. Best of luck, Taylor Mays, in your next chapter with UW. Meanwhile, USC almost had another loss, but were able to retain defensive coordinator Danton Lynn, who got a contract extension. And Lynn was already one of the highest paid defensive coordinators. According to a report I saw in the LA Times, he was making over $2 million a year already. So, and Penn State, his alma mater, was making a big push to get him. And I read today that I think Ryan Karchi of the LA Times report that James Franklin was even in LA to try to close the deal in person. So that really shows that Penn State really wanted him. But credit to USC and Lincoln Riley for seeing the value in Lynn and how much his defense has progressed. So I'm really excited for year two under Danton Lynn and just see this defense get better. And on the subject, someone who Lynn has a deep connection with professionally is Rob Ryan, twin brother of former NFL head coach Rex Ryan, who has been hired to replace Matt Entz as the assistant head coach for defense and the linebackers coach. Rob Ryan has 35 years of coaching experience, including 17 as an NFL defensive coordinator. And it sounds like I think Danton Lynn's relationship is a big draw. And I think, honestly, having guys like Lynn, Ryan, and also Eric Henderson, who have coaching experience in the NFL, is going to be huge for USC, especially being like those guys know what it takes to get to the next level. And I think that's something they can sell to recruits. Even Ryan, who hasn't coached in college, who hasn't had a job in college in decades, when he was, I think, last with Oklahoma State. But still, it just shows that Lincoln Riley's trying to show, all right, here's how you do, especially with kind of the nature of how the NFL, college is now turning more into the NFL, especially with how things are. But I really think these are some good hires, and Lincoln Riley's seen the value of defense and spending on it. It is clear, while we won't know the numbers for a while, USC is once again spending a lot of money on defense, which I think is great, especially with how well we've seen that defensive product improve over the last season. So I'm really excited for year two with Danton Lynn and now Rob Ryan in the fold, in addition to Eric Henderson, Doug Belk, and Sean Nua. Meanwhile, quick news on soccer. Congratulations to Aaliyah Farmer for signing with Club Tigres Femenil in Mexico. That happened last Tuesday. Meanwhile, quick news on USC lacrosse. They came in for the preseason rankings at 20th, and Reese Robinson was named a top 20 player to watch this year. So definitely looking forward to lacrosse kicking off at the start of February. We will get into their season as that time approaches in the next couple of weeks. Meanwhile, for women's volleyball, congratulations to incoming freshman Reese Messer for being named the Kansas Gatorade Player of the Year. Brad Keller going after some big recruits and landing big, so I'm really excited to see how these freshmen coming in as well as the returners that are staying will come together to, I think, be a very good team next season. So I'm really excited. Now on to the teams that have been competing over the last week and will compete. We'll start with swim and dive. Had a tough weekend up in the Bay, facing former Pac-12 rivals Stanford and Cal. Men's team lost to Cal on Friday, 88 to 212. Women lost 115 to 185. On Saturday, the men lost to Stanford 97-202. Women lost 92 to 207. So definitely a tough weekend. They'll both be looking to bounce back in the final dual meet of the regular season. As for the Cal Diving Invitational, the men took first in it behind Moritz Wessemans. Hope I'm saying that right. Wins in the 1 meter and 3 meter and scoring a school record in points to help the USC get the dub. And on the women's side, Gabby Filzen finished 8th in the 3 meter. Grace Lee finished 9th in both the 3 and 1 meters, with the Trojan women finishing 5th in the Invitational. Up next is the final dual meets of the regular season. They will be back at home. Women's swim and dive faces UCLA on January 31st at noon. Men's swim hosts UNLV on February 7th at 1 p.m. So we'll talk more about those events when they approach. Meanwhile, we'll talk track and field. Team had their first event of the season, of the indoor season, at the Spokane Sports Showcase, which was hosted by Washington State last Friday, and USC won 9 events, which is just so impressive and just shows how dominant this track and field team can really be this year. So really excited for that. Up next for them, they will be taking part in the Red Raider Invitational in Lubbock, hosted by Texas Tech this upcoming Friday. Men's tennis, meanwhile, kicked off their season today, their spring season today, by beating UCI 6-0 and San Diego State 7-0. So they are now 2-0 on the season. Up next, they will take part in the ITA kickoff weekend, which will be in Tucson. They'll play Arizona on Saturday at 11 a.m. And then on Sunday, they will face either UCF or Oklahoma based on results. Women's tennis, meanwhile, start their first duels of the season. Beat number 7 Texas 4-3 last Friday, and then beat UCI 4-0 the following day. They will also take part in the ITA kickoff weekend, but they will actually host it, so that'll be at David X. Marks Tennis Stadium. They will play Penn on Friday at 2 p.m., and then either Auburn or the University of San Diego on Saturday, also dependent on results. Women's water polo, who started the season ranked 3rd in the country, won both their games of the Beach Invite on Friday. They beat Biola, or on Saturday, pardon me. They beat Biola 21-6 and number 10 LMU 16-10. So they are 2-0 on the season now. Against Biola, Emily Osmus led with 6 goals, and against the Lions, Tilly Kearns led with 4. And I think it seems like also one thing I noticed from looking at the box sheet, I didn't get a chance to watch these games, so I was looking at the box scores just before coming on when I was doing my research, was it seems like there may be a competition at goalie between Anna Reed, Lauren Schneider, Lane Horrigan, and Jada Ward. During the 4 games, each played a half. So we'll see what head coach Casey Moon decides to do in the cage. I think he's really trying to see the depth and talents in his goalkeeper room. So at least that's what I suspect from looking at the box score. So interested to see what happens there. Up next for the Trojan women's water polo, they will take part in the Lancer Joust on Friday. That'll be hosted by Cal Baptist. They'll face CBU at 10:30 a.m. that day, and then 3 hours later at 1:30, they will take on UCI. So 2 more big matchups to really just see this team come back, and I'm really excited for them to get to play and get to see a lot of them play in person, especially because I got to know a lot of them this in the fall, because a lot of them always go to the men's water polo game. So it's really cool to get to know them and just really kind of help me hype up and get excited for this season. So we'll move on to women's basketball. And before we do, congrats to Jazzy Davidson, incoming freshman, currently a senior in high school for passing the 2,000 point mark in high school, and well as numerous other standout achievements. It's gonna be really exciting to have her at USC and playing alongside Juju Watkins. Lindsey Gottlieb is not missing on recruits. Like, I am so excited to see the basketball product she keeps putting out here every year, especially with women's basketball, as we've talked about before on Behind the Caution Tape. Probably the biggest draw right now at USC, if we think about it, because especially with their success over the last 2 years, and also just Juju Watkins, just visibility. Like, she's right now, like, and I know I've said this before, I'm saying it again. I'll say it probably a billion more times, like this during the remainder of basketball season. Like, I don't care. Juju Watkins is right now the face of USC, especially with Caleb Williams gone, and there was no one really on football who kind of filled that sort of void that he had as that presence and face of the university. So I think that's really something Juju Watkins stepped up into, especially with all of her success and the success of her team. So I'm really excited to see this team play. On to their one game they had this week due to the cancellation of the Northwestern game. USC only played once. They beat Indiana yesterday 73-66. Juju Watkins led with 22 points in a back and forth affair, helped USC win it late in the fourth quarter, and Indiana made things tough for the Trojans, but USC pulled through. Watkins was named to the Big Ten honor roll for the third time this season, and USC is now 17-1 on the year, 7-0 in Big Ten play. They have a 13-game winning streak, and UCLA is the only team still undefeated in Big Ten play. They held steady at number 4. No surprise considering UCLA, South Carolina, Notre Dame didn't lose. It's going to take one of them for the Trojans to probably pass them, and I think probably that first opportunity to do that is going to be when the Bruins come to town. So that game coming up soon. Really looking forward to it, and I think it's just going to be a great game overall. But this week, USC's just got one more game before they come back home. They will take on Purdue, who is 7-11, 0-7, and 0-7 Big Ten play on Wednesday at 4 p.m. I'm going to try to catch that one on the radio, actually. That game will be broadcasted on NBC. And I think just with this game, USC just needs to start strong and take care of business against one of the worst teams in the Big Ten and give Gottlieb the opportunity to give her younger players opportunities to play, like Ryan Forestier, Brooklyn Shamblin, who haven't gotten to play much this year. So really excited for all of that and just really how this team will do against Purdue. I think this is one where USC just takes care of business early, but I think they just have to in order to have an opportunity to do it. But should be exciting. And then obviously some more. Next home game is on 30th against Minnesota. So really looking forward to this team being back, wishing them the best on the road against Purdue on Wednesday. We'll move to men's basketball. And before we talk about them, rest in peace to USC basketball legend Gus Williams, who passed away on January 15th due to complications of a stroke suffered 5 years prior. Played at USC from 1972 to 1975 and was in the NBA from 1975 to 1987. He was drafted in the second round, 20th overall by Golden State in 1975, and won an NBA title with the Supersonics in 1979. In terms of recruits incoming to USC, Jerry Easter II has been named a nominee for the McDonald's All-American game. So I think shows it's a big pickup for Eric Musselman this year, especially just when he'll have his first full recruiting class and actually get to have some more continuity with the team. So going to be real exciting there. On to the results for the team this week. They beat Iowa 99-89 on last Wednesday and then lost to Wisconsin on Saturday, ranked 24th, by the way, 84-69. We'll start the Iowa game, actually. Before I do, something I meant to mention at the top of this piece was I got this really cool Hawaiian shirt on for the game against the Hawkeyes. And this is something I'll say to any team. You have a cool giveaway, I will rep it on the podcast, especially if it's a t-shirt or long sleeve or collared shirt like this. And this one's really nice, so you'll probably see me wearing this one again soon. But any of these things that I really like, I will wear them. And I've told that to multiple people, like, prepare to see this. If I look like I'm liking what the giveaway is, prepare to see me wear it the following week on Behind the Caution Tape. So in the 99-89 win against the Hawkeyes, Desmond Claude led with 21 points, but St. Thomas and Wesley Yates III also had 20 plus points. So it was really high-powered offensive game, kind of how Iowa likes to play, really just high offensive games. It was a very high-powered offensive game, like I was saying. USC was in control for pretty much the whole time, but Iowa did make it close a couple of times, including late in the second half, which got stressful, but credit to USC for just taking care of business and putting it away for win number 11. It was a very different game against the Badgers. Thomas led with 19 points, but USC was playing much from behind the whole time. Yates had 11 points. So it's definitely a very tough game. A little frustrating for sure, but I'm confident this team will bounce back. I think it's just hard. I think just this is going to be a team that's just going to have to find ways to grit out wins in these tough games. I think they can do it. I'm really confident long term with what the success Eric Musselman will bring to the program as USC's head coach. But as I've said before, with this team, we need to be patient as fans. I think this year could still be special, but if you find yourself frustrated and you don't feel like it's going the way you were hoping, I'm just trying to say Musselman has had success before. I'm confident he will get this program right. It just may not be this year. But that said, I still think a lot can be accomplished in the remaining weeks of the regular season and heading into the Big Ten tournament. So we'll see what happens. At this point, it probably is looking like USC will need to win the Big Ten title or Big Ten tournament to make March Madness, but a lot can change in this time. So I'm still going to always remain confident and positive for this team. And I'm really excited to be back for the next home game. But before they do go on the road against Wisconsin or against Nebraska, who's 12-6, 2-5 on the year on Wednesday. That's at 6 p.m. And then the next home game is UCLA on January 27th, a week from today, at tip off at 7 p.m. Huskers are 12-6 overall, 2-5 in Big Ten. UCLA is also 12-6 and 3-4. So two big games coming up. USC standing at 11-7 and 3 overall, 3-4 in the Big Ten. So they're tied ninth in the Big Ten standings. And really this week I've been obviously impressed with like AG and Rashawn Agee and Wesley Yates over the last couple of weeks. But USC is going to need all hands on deck against Nebraska and UCLA. And also, this game will be at the UCLA game will be the return of Kobe Johnson to Galen Center. And I know for those of you who listened to my interview on Saturday with USC basketball alum Ethan Anderson, I did say that I don't blame anyone for doing a move that they think is best for them, and that even includes Kobe Johnson. Am I bummed that he went to UCLA? Absolutely, yes. But at the same time, I don't blame him. He thought that move was the best for him. I'm going to respect that. But still, that doesn't mean that he absolutely needs to be booed when his name is called. But definitely, he'll be the third former Trojan to face USC. So it'll definitely be fun. It'd be a great game for sure. I'm really looking forward to that one, to being back. I love crosstown showdown games, so should be a great game, but definitely make sure you show up for that one. I'll definitely talk more about it next week on game day when I record. Finally, tonight we will talk about men's volleyball. You got two more wins to start the year. They got 3-0 sweep against Uville on Friday, then another sweep against Emmanuel on Saturday. Parker Tompkinson led with 8 kills against Uville, and USC just dominated the match, especially in sets 2 and 3, which allowed head coach Jeff Nygaard to play a lot of backup and younger guys, including freshman Johnny Dykstra, hope I'm saying that right, and junior setter Brian Sprague. So I'm really excited to see how this team continues to perform. And then against Emmanuel, Christian Connell led with 10 kills, and Nygaard opted to start mainly freshmen like Christian Connell, who had a great game, and also did have some of his normal starters like Noah Roberts and Parker Tompkinson in the lineup before also subbing them out. So I think you saw just Nygaard really trying to really just let his younger guys and backups get playing time, and just really try to, I suspect, try to really understand the depth, especially in 2 games where USC was heavily favored and did what they were supposed to do. So I really think that was a good move by Nygaard, also giving his starters a rest because they're going to need it. They got a big game coming up Wednesday night at CSUN in the Matadome. First serve at 6 p.m. CSUN is 5-0 on the year, 15th ranked overall. And USC is going to need to come out strong It's going to be the toughest match they've had so far, and CSUN is off to a hot start. Like, this was a blow for blow game last year when the Matadors came to Galen Center, and I expect nothing different in this rematch. So it's gonna be a really exciting one, and I'm planning on going to it. So definitely, USC is gonna need all their starters ready and needs to come out strong for this matchup against the Matadors. So last week, I went 3-1 in the games I attended. Men's volleyball wins against DUville and Emmanuel. Men's basketball's win against Iowa, and then the lone loss was the game to Wisconsin on Saturday. So that puts me at 50-14 on the season. Hit win number 50 this year with the volleyball win against Emmanuel. That puts me at 262-96 all time. For the season, I'm 9-4 at men's basketball, 4-0 at men's volleyball. So my plans for this week are the men's volleyball match at CSUN. And that's pretty much all I got for you today. Thanks again for joining in. I apologize I'm coming late. I was just coming back from a trip this afternoon, so I had to, still do my prep and make sure I got this episode right for y'all, because I want to, keep producing good episodes. I enjoy doing this, and I want to make sure I do it well. But thank you again for joining me today on Behind the Caution Tape. I appreciate everyone's support. If you haven't already and you're enjoying this, please subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts from. And obviously, looking forward to we got a big week for coming up. Actually, I got not one but two guest interviews coming up. Tomorrow, I will interview USC soccer alum Simone Jackson, and on Thursday, it'll be USC men's basketball alum Joshua Morgan. So, two really exciting interviews. I'm looking forward to just chatting it up with them, and I'm really trying to add more to this podcast by doing guest interviews like what you've seen with Nick Lopez, Ethan Anderson, and obviously now Jackson and Morgan. So really excited for all that. Thank you again for everyone who's been subscribing. It means the world to me. Make sure to follow me everywhere on social media at CrashLit, and be sure to check out my website, crashlit.com. I'll see y'all tomorrow alongside Simone Jackson. Have a great night, everybody, and fight on.